A lot of people have covered the $25 million Twitch lawsuit that's been in the news this year, but none of them have what I have. I actually interviewed the man himself, Erik Estavillo, and I know who he's going to go after next, and I even talked to him a little bit about his run for Congress this year. Yeah, he ran for Congress in the state of California. Nobody's talking about it. It's definitely a story you're going to want to hear. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's dive into the world of gaming's most famous or infamous plaintiff, Erik Estavillo.
Today, a man named Erik sued Twitch for $25 million because he can't stop to the female streamers on the platform and blames Twitch for his always being rubbed raw.
The plaintiff wants all female streamers named in the complaint permanently banned and is seeking $25 million in damages. Estavillo, who is currently following 786 female streamers and 0 male streamers,
making it nearly impossible for the plaintiff to use Twitch without being exposed to such sexual content.
I did. What the f*** am I listening to, dude?
Christy responds to this saying, I'm on the list and I don't even stream. If being hot and talented is a crime, then sue us. The streamer Hassan responded here saying, I'm low-key pissed that I wasn't added on the sexually suggestive Twitch streamer's lawsuit. I really need to hit the gym harder and start posting thirst traps on IG again.
That is where we are with that story. Why are you doing this to me today? What did I do to you? Do you enjoy seeing me suffer?
Howdy partners, I'm Jabroni, and welcome to my channel. I make videos on youtube.com about stuff that's interesting to me. That's pretty much it, and that's why you're here. I am getting a psychic revelation though. The voices from beyond are telling me you haven't subscribed? Why would you not subscribe? It's totally free content. Hit subscribe, smash the bell, you're gonna get free, amazing content delivered into your life regularly. You'll thank me later. You know who's probably not gonna thank us later? Twitch. Twitch is probably in a pretty crappy mood because they still have an ongoing lawsuit for $25 million since June of this year. It's still not closed out, it's still open in the courts, so I decided to look into it a little bit. And I don't blame you if you don't remember all the details or remember this in the news at all, because it's not like there's been anything else going on in 2020. So before I start to share my historic interview with Erik, let me help you by jogging your memory on the backstory, because my conversation with him is not going to make sense unless you understand where he's coming from and what he's done in the past. Erik is most known for his gaming lawsuits, but he's also written an autobiography that's on Amazon. It's pretty brief, and I read the whole thing because I wanted to get an idea of who Erik really is outside the courtroom. A lot of coverage has painted him as a litigious person who's just trolling with his lawsuits, but a lot of people also support him and see him as somebody who's working hard to stick it to the man. My goal in reading Erik's book and ultimately interviewing him was to find out why. Why would somebody go to all the trouble of suing Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony, Activision Blizzard, Sony again, Insomniac Games, Epic Games, Activision Blizzard again, and many, many more companies, and now he's suing Twitch? Let's take a look at Erik's very first gaming lawsuit. In Erik's book, he explains that in 2008, he was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, OCD, panic disorder, and agoraphobia, which was a big part of the basis for his lawsuit. Due to these ailments, Erik never really left his house, and he says in the lawsuit that he didn't have any friends in real life. So, he turned to gaming for his socialization and relaxation. He says he liked playing games on PS3 with voice chat because it was a way for him to meet girls, which was a pretty avant-garde way to talk to ladies back in 2008. However, shuffling servers and inconsistent lobbies made it pretty difficult to form long-lasting friendships, until Erik started playing a game called Resistance: Fall of Man, which let him play on the same server every time. This seemed to work pretty well until Erik got banned for trash-talking other players. Instead of giving up, Erik decided to take Sony to court. So Erik did the first thing anybody does when they want to sue. He started talking to lawyers. Erik explains in his book that all the lawyers he talked to pretty much laughed him off, at which time he decided most lawyers are professional jerks. Frankly, I think even most lawyers would agree with Erik on that one. So, he did something that was out of the norm and decided to represent himself, which is something he's done in every one of his cases up to this day. Erik explains that one of his biggest influences going into the lawsuit was Heath Ledger's Joker character from The Dark Knight, which also came out in 2008. Erik explains in his book that when this case went to court, he dressed in a suit that looked like the Joker's, and then he looked up to Heath Ledger because he understood depression. Erik says he found a new strength within himself by following the philosophies of the Joker. In the lawsuit, Erik says Sony banned his PSN account, his IP address, his MAC address, and the serial number on his console. He wasn't just banned, he was mega banned. Erik alleged that Sony was violating his First Amendment right to free speech, and caused him pain and suffering since they had effectively cut off his only way to communicate with the outside world, in addition to making his PlayStation 3 and all the other games useless. So he asked for $55,000 in damages. Unfortunately for Erik, the court ended up disagreeing with his claim and he didn't get the $55,000. But after this lawsuit, Erik wasn't done. He went on to sue many other companies in the gaming industry. In 2009, he sued Microsoft for $75,000 after his Xbox 360 got the dreaded red ring of death. In this lawsuit, Erik subpoenaed none other than Bill Gates. In the lawsuit, he demanded to know how many Xbox 360s had actually failed and how many people had been banned for piracy. Eventually, Erik would go on to drop all of his lawsuits because his Crohn's disease and panic disorder had become worse, and he wanted to work on improving his conditions. But this break in Erik's lawsuits wasn't permanent, and eventually Erik would sue Twitch in June of 2020. The current Twitch lawsuit is Erik's biggest yet. It's for $25 million and it's still active today. In it, Erik says that Twitch has exacerbated his sex addiction by showing him scantily clad female streamers with no way to filter them out. He goes even further, saying that he pleasures himself to these streamers, which chafes his member, causing infections. Pretty graphic stuff. He also says that he stays up for hours looking at the chests of these streamers, making his eyes bloodshot, leading to embarrassment and isolation. And even further, he alleges that while watching a Twitch stream, he spilled some fluid on a PC monitor, causing a short circuit and small fire within his computer, causing his apartment to black out. This Twitch lawsuit really interested me, and I wanted to make a video about it to update everyone once the lawsuit was finished. I found the court records for this case, and Twitch has filed a motion for it to be thrown out, but it seems like that's not happening, at least not immediately, because this case is still active and they're still having hearings. So, I decided to reach out to Erik to get his take. Here's what happened. First, he was kind enough to give me permission to use our conversation in my video as well as excerpts from his book, and even quoted Belle Delphine when she said that she was basically okay with people making commentary videos about her even if they hurt her feelings. Which makes sense since freedom of speech is something Erik sued for all the way back in his first lawsuit. Ironically, Belle was probably thinking about a certain video on my channel when she wrote that tweet, so if you're watching this, sorry. Erik also told me that he's planning on subpoenaing Belle Delphine to give testimony when his case with Twitch goes to trial, and he even cited the law that makes this possible. He says she's an expert on simping culture, and that he watched her music video and tried to eat his own rear end, but ended up injuring himself and having to wear a back brace for 2 months, and that her plushy music video influenced him even more. What am I even reading? I also asked him if he could tell me more about running for Congress, since I found a record of someone with his name running this year in the county he lives in. He confirmed that it was in fact him, but that he was unable to obtain the 2,000 signatures needed to get on the ballot, since he can't leave his house, and his homeless cousin who was helping him get signatures lost those signatures because he was smoking crack outside of a 7-Eleven and forgot where he left them. I love democracy. In Erik's book, he says that he wants to give some of the money he wins to charity if he ever wins one of his lawsuits, but he also quotes the Joker saying it's not about the money, it's about sending a message. So my next question I asked him was to see if he sees himself as more of a Robin Hood character or more like the Joker. He responded that the ends justify the means in his lawsuits, meaning he has to act like the Joker to get to the Robin Hood part. He said that companies hate being exposed for what they truly are, and basically they're dishonest, which seems like a pretty reasonable take to me. Then I asked him if lawsuits are like a hobby for him, since he said in his book that he was self-taught on how to file and conduct lawsuits, and he's done so many of them, or are they more of a necessary annoyance? He says the lawsuits are a necessary evil to try and equate things between consumers and big gaming companies and balance the scales of power. Fair enough. Finally, the big one. I asked Erik what he thinks about streamers who wear skimpy clothing and act provocatively on camera, and if he thinks that there's a problem with them doing it, or if there's just a problem with Twitch allowing it to be shown on their site. Here's what he said. Erik gave me a pretty nuanced answer to this question. He said that even if the court ends up finding it to be legal, he does consider it to be unethical. He makes an interesting argument about terms of service next. Okay, pause. I apologize in advance. I'm really trying to get this video not suppressed by the YouTube algorithm for bad words. It probably will be anyway, but I'm going to try and tone down some of the spicier language here. Now, legally, if you go to any of the prawn sites such as Y, P, and R, where you'd expect to see such spicy content, and their TOS explains that you're going to see this type of spicy, suggestive material, then it's in their legal right. However, Twitch says just the opposite in their TOS. So some prawn websites, company actors are acting in accordance with their terms of service and within the law because they tell you up front what to expect as a consumer, but Twitch acts in direct violation of their terms of service. So to sum up, I don't take issue with women being spicy suggestive in front of a camera, as I'm not that kind of religious zealot, and I even watch prawn. But the problem is I go to Twitch to unwind and not to be led on, as I have been in the past with certain girls who acted like my friend the more I donated, but would forget about me 5 minutes later. And the sad thing is it's happening to hundreds if not thousands of guys on Twitch right now as I type this. They shouldn't be using their spicy prowess to seduce and bankrupt simps. These girls should go to campsites and take their type of audience with them, where the TOS states that you will be taken advantage of to some degree. And that was the end of our interview. And I gotta say, I think Erik is one of the most eccentric people I've ever come into contact with. If nothing else, no other person has ever made me say, "What am I reading?" as often or as consistently as Erik, and he's for sure to go down in gaming history as one of the most notable plaintiffs. So what do you think? Do you think Erik is a lawsuit troll, or is he standing up for the little guy? Let me know down in the comments down below. And now you've come as close as I have to meeting the man who sued Twitch for $25 million. So thanks for watching. Stay weird, internet. See you next time.